Like most kids born in the 90s in the United States, I grew up eating the standard American diet: pancakes, pizza, hamburgers, and lots of processed and packaged snacks. It's safe to say that when it came to food, I was pretty uncultured. Since then, I have gained a strong curiosity for cuisine and a deep passion for trying new dishes. I have always loved learning about other cultures, and I think one of the best ways to do that is through food, which is why I wanted to start this series where I eat food from one culture or cuisine for a week. Now, of course, it takes years to learn how to make properly authentic and traditional meals, so take this with a grain of salt. I'm not expecting to recreate dishes perfectly, but I do want to try to be as accurate as possible and use as many traditional ingredients and cooking techniques as I can. I should also add that I'm not a chef, nor am I even an amazing cook. I'm just a girl who lives to eat and loves to learn what goes on behind every meal. So for the next 5 days, I'm going to focus on the cuisine of Japan. Now, I think before I go any further, there is something you should know. I actually don't eat fish, and if you know anything about Japanese food, you know that they eat a lot of fish. Like, a lot. It will definitely be a challenge, but I'm up for it if you are. Welcome home, welcome back to my channel where I pretty much always have wet hair because it takes 5 hours to dry and I'm not patient. I'm so excited for this video. I've been wanting to make a video like this for a while and I'm finally doing it. I decided to start with Japanese food because I love Japanese food, but I also pretty much only stick to the basics like sushi, ramen, that kind of stuff. So I feel like there's so much more to discover about Japanese food, and I just have such a passion for learning more about food and cooking and learning different ways to cook and discovering new ingredients and all that kind of stuff. So I want this video to be like a learning process for me, like a journey that we go on together. I think it's really important to learn about other cultures, and my favorite way of doing that is through food. I love food, but as some of you know, I don't eat animal products except for eggs, so that does kind of make it hard to try other foods sometimes because a lot of traditional meals and dishes have like meat or dairy in them. Obviously Japanese food has a lot of fish in it. I don't eat fish, so that will be a challenge, but I'm definitely excited for it. Also, disclaimer, if I pronounce any of the words wrong in this video, any of the names of the dishes wrong, I apologize. I don't want to offend anyone. I definitely am trying my best. Feel free to leave a comment below letting me know how it's pronounced if you know that, because this is a learning process for me. I don't want to be disrespectful to any culture. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this video and let's get on into it. I started off Monday morning with a nice hot matcha latte. Matcha is a powder made from ground grain tea leaves and is used in traditional Japanese tea ceremonies. It originated in China but was adopted in 1191 and played a significant role in Zen monasteries. In Japan, matcha is usually made with hot water, as I decided to make it here, although I didn't use a bamboo whisk, which is typically used to mix the matcha with the water. I also added some non-dairy creamer because that's personally how I like to drink my matcha. I also started the week by making a big batch of short grain white rice using a rice cooker. Rice is consumed in many meals and dishes in Japanese cuisine and often for breakfast. I decided to have a bowl of warm rice with natto, which is fermented soybeans. This is a typical Japanese breakfast dish, and I added some pickled ginger as well. I am not a very clean cook. I tend to get covered in whatever food I'm making, but luckily this video is sponsored by Blueland. They've come to the rescue to save both myself from my disastrous, messy cooking habits and the planet, because they have reusable hand soap bottles and cleaning bottles. It can be hard to live a sustainable lifestyle when so many products that we use on a daily basis are disposable and full of plastics. Luckily, Blueland makes it easy. Blueland makes hand soap and cleaning products without the wasteful plastic packaging. They make it easy to be eco-friendly with reusable packaging. Blueland doesn't use any single-use plastic in their products, and their hand soap comes in reusable bottles with soap tablets and are shipped in compostable packaging and recyclable boxes. The hand soap duo comes with 2 reusable glass bottles and 6 soap tablets. The tablets come in the scents Perrine Lemon, Lavender Eucalyptus, and Iris Agave, which is my personal favorite. All you have to do is fill up the glass bottles to the line with warm or hot water, drop 1 tablet in for each bottle, wait for the tablets to fully dissolve, screw on the dispenser, and then put wherever you use hand soap. I keep 1 in my kitchen and 1 in the bathroom, so I'm always covered. I love how nice the soap feels on my hands. Unlike other soaps with super harsh chemicals, it leaves your hands feeling extra clean and smelling super fresh. The best part is that the refills are only $2 a tablet, and there's no extra plastic involved. I love how easy Blueland makes it to be sustainable and have clean hands. You don't have to choose one, you can literally have both. You save money, space, and the earth by choosing Blueland. The hand soap duo is a much better value than buying one hand soap starter kit, and Blueland has an exclusive offer for you. So use my code Angelina to get 15% off your first kit. I have some seaweed salad, which I love seaweed salad, so I'm super excited, and some edamame. I'm not much of a like lunch kind of person, so this is probably what I'm gonna snack on, I guess, right now. Just eat a little bit of this before dinner, just because I ate such a late breakfast. So if you guys notice that I don't eat lunch that often in these videos or have like a really tiny lunch, that's just the way that I prefer to eat. So for dinner, I decided to make some yaki udon, which is very similar to yakisoba, which I have had before, but yaki udon is basically the same thing but made with udon noodles instead of yakisoba noodles, which I did not have. So I decided to cut up some bell pepper, mushrooms, green onion, and tofu, and I sauteed those in a little bit of olive oil and soy sauce and I think some seasoning. And then I boiled some water and added the udon noodles, and I made the sauce. Most of the sauce that I use in this video is made of like ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce, and sugar. So I'm going to leave the recipes for all of these down below because I found them all online. After I strained and rinsed the noodles in cold water, I added them into the pan with the vegetables and I added the sauce on top. Then just mixed that through a little bit and added some green onions on top, and that was it. Let's try it. Oh my god, it's so good. The sauce is amazing. 10 out of 10. Delicious. For Tuesday morning's breakfast, I decided to try to make tamagoyaki, which is a Japanese rolled omelet. I started off by cutting up some green onions and some vegan smoked salmon, which does actually exist, and I also added Japanese seaweed seasoning. I mixed together 2 eggs with sugar and soy sauce, which is how tamagoyaki is, I guess, typically made. It seems weird to add sugar into egg for me because I've obviously never heard of that before. Poured the mixture into a measuring cup to make it easier to pour into the pan. So the process of making tamagoyaki, I definitely have it not perfected yet, and it was very hard to do for me. The egg kind of stuck to the pan a little bit, but the idea, the concept, is to pour a thin layer of the egg mixture and roll the mixture into like a long cylinder. You're actually supposed to typically make tamagoyaki in a rectangular pan, but I didn't have that, so it's okay to use a round one. You can do that as well, but yeah, typically it's made in a square or a rectangular pan. So you roll it and then you move it to one side and then you pour more mixture and you just keep overlapping the mixture together until you get like a big rolled cylinder shape. I added all of the seasoning and the toppings inside and rolled that all together, and it definitely wasn't perfect, but I think I was starting to kind of understand it at the very end. So for lunch, I'm just having some of my leftover yaki udon from last night's dinner. So I made quite a bit of it, so this is the rest of it that I didn't eat last night. My friend is coming over and we are actually going out for ramen tonight for dinner, which I am so excited about. I know that I could like try to make it myself, but I just thought it'd be fun to go out and get some Japanese food somewhere. I absolutely love ramen and I haven't had it in so long, so I'm super excited. The place we're going to, I've never been before, but they do a vegan ramen. So yeah, super exciting and should be good. Okay, so after my friend and I had our ramen, we decided to go to this Japanese store because I wanted to get some snacks. So I got these. I guess they're made out of like rice. I actually don't know what they are, but they're like these little rice cracker things. And then I got these things that I honestly used to eat when I was a kid, and I remember that I really liked them, so I got some of those. And then I got this like citrus rice candy, which I kind of want to try right now because I'm craving something sweet and it just kind of sounds good. So I'm gonna give it a try. This is what they look like. I feel like I've had these before. The only thing is they're not as like sour as I thought they'd be. They're definitely much more like sweeter, and the lemon flavor is super subtle. Good morning and happy Wednesday. It is day 3 of eating only Japanese food for a week, and I am feeling great. That dinner last night was amazing. And what's weird is usually if I go to bed when I'm extremely full, I wake up feeling really bloated and having an upset stomach. And I was so full last night, like I was actually in like physical pain from how much food that I ate. But I woke up this morning and felt great, and I went for like a little run, did a little workout. I am drinking a little matcha latte. I have my blue light glasses on, by the way. I have 20/20 vision, don't worry, but I do like wearing blue light glasses when I work. Okay, so I am making homemade vegan miso soup. I guess miso soup is typically eaten for breakfast with rice and the natto that I had the first day. So I wanted to have a little bit more of a traditional breakfast with the miso soup, the rice and the natto, instead of just the rice and the natto that I had the first day. So I have been making the dashi, which I guess is the broth for miso soup, and also a type of stock that is used in like a bunch of different Japanese dishes. Traditionally it has fish flakes in it, I think, but I'm making a vegan one with kombu seaweed. So I have been soaking a strip of this kombu seaweed overnight in water, and right now I am heating it up. So I'm supposed to bring this to a near boil, and then once it's just about boiling, I have to take the seaweed out. I'm also gonna soak this dried wakame. You guys, I'm so sorry if I'm saying any of these words wrong. Like, I'm not doing it on purpose. So I'm gonna soak some of this in. If you've had miso soup before, it usually has little pieces of seaweed in it, and I guess this is the seaweed that's usually used, but I'm gonna soak it in some water in this bowl first. I also, of course, have miso paste, and then I also got some silken tofu. I also have some green onions that I'm going to chop up for the soup as well. So, got all the ingredients, making the dashi stock, and yeah, I feel like I'm learning so much. I never even knew about all these different types of seaweed and how you make miso soup, and we are just learning so much about Japanese cuisine. It's really fun. So I had to dissolve the miso paste in a ladle of the water, because if you just plop it in, I guess it won't dissolve properly and there will be chunks of miso paste. So this took a little bit of time to do, but once I had all of it dissolved into the water, I added in my silken tofu and I just stirred it around. Apparently you're never supposed to boil miso soup, so I just heated it thoroughly until it was as hot as I wanted it to be. Okay, I have my miso soup. I don't have an actual miso soup like spoon, but I just have a normal spoon. I also have a little side of pickled ginger, because I guess that for pretty much every meal, I think there are some sort of pickled vegetables, pickled ginger. And then I have the rice with the natto and my little chopsticks. I'm so excited to try. This is like, I feel like very close to the traditional breakfast. Usually they have a gigantic hunk of fish, but obviously I don't eat fish, so let's give it a taste. I've already had the rice with natto before, so I think I'm a little more interested in the miso soup. We got a spoonful. So good. Like, it literally just tastes like miso soup. I feel like I never make things that taste like how they would if you got them at a restaurant, but this like actually tastes like all other miso soup that I've ever had. So I'm at James's house now, and I didn't really have like a proper lunch, but I'm just kind of snacking on these little rice cakes and these little rice seaweed snacks I got. And I have the candy from yesterday, so we're just gonna like watch a show, eat some snacks, and then we'll cook dinner later, and I'll show you guys what we're making. So for dinner, I decided to make James and I some yakimeshi, which is basically Japanese fried rice. It's essentially just like any other fried rice. So I used leftover rice, and you can use pretty much any vegetables you want. I finally chopped up some green onion, some mushrooms, and then I used some frozen edamame, frozen carrots, and frozen onions. And basically I heated all of that up in a wok with some oil, and then I added in the leftover rice and let that cook a bit as well. I added in some seaweed seasoning, and then I also added in 2 eggs that I scrambled up with the rice mixture. And then for dessert, of course, we had a couple mochi balls because I cannot resist. They were just so good. So the next morning for breakfast, I was so determined to make the Japanese souffle pancakes that I've seen all over Pinterest. I literally did it. I think my arm's gonna be a noodle tomorrow, but I did it!
Oh, wow.
We're doing it, we're doing it, we're doing it! I can't believe it. I'm so proud of myself. I hope they actually cook. Y'all, I freaking made them! James helped me flip them because I was having an existential crisis, but they are beautiful. Although for the amount of work to make these, I honestly don't think I'll ever do it again. So for lunch, I'm just having some leftover miso soup. For dinner, I decided to make tonkatsu, except it's basically tofu katsu because tonkatsu is made with a pork cutlet, and obviously I don't eat meat, so I used tofu. Tonkatsu is basically, or I guess just katsu, it is like a tempura fried, like battered and fried piece of meat, and then it's typically served with a bed of cabbage and tonkatsu sauce. I will leave the link to the recipe below for the tonkatsu sauce. Honestly, most of the sauces that I made were very, very similar, use like the same ingredients, just like different amounts of them. But I just started off by chopping up some cabbage, shredding it pretty finely, and then I just cut my piece of tofu into a slice, and then I slice it diagonally so I kind of had like 2 triangle pieces, and then I breaded it. I just mixing up an egg, and I dipped the tofu in flour, and then in the egg, and then in panko breadcrumbs, and then I actually put the cutlets or the tofu in an air fryer, and that worked really well. I just fried them up until they were pretty crispy, like crispy to my liking, and then I just cut them into slices because that is how tonkatsu is served, and I plated it up with the cabbage and put on some tonkatsu sauce, and it was super good. That was it. It was super easy to do. Okay, so this is a recipe that I have been anticipating making because it just sounds so good. I don't know, kind of saved it for the last day, I guess, but I am making okonomiyaki. If I said that wrong again, I am sorry. But it is a Japanese savory pancake. Primary ingredient seems to be shredded cabbage, eggs, and flour, and it seems like it's kind of one of those recipes that you can sort of interpret whichever way you want. You can add whatever ingredients you want. It's not really a breakfast food, but it is already like past noon, so I figured I just may as well make it for like a brunchy type food. So I have green onions, cabbage, 2 eggs, and this isn't really something that like I saw in any of the recipes, but I have all of these Japanese mushrooms. So these are enoki mushrooms that I heated up, and I think I'm gonna add to the mixture, like to the batter. I also have flour, water, the like seaweed seasoning, some panko breadcrumbs, and then I'm gonna make a little like mayonnaise because I guess they have like Japanese mayonnaise goes on top, as well as okonomiyaki sauce, which seems to be very similar to like all of the other sauces I've made. I am so excited. Look how good this looks. It literally looks amazing. Got a little mushroom in there. Oh my god. The mushrooms are so crispy. I think this is like my new favorite Japanese food. I mean, like, I love sushi, I love ramen, but this is so good. So, you're probably wondering, How can you do a whole week of eating Japanese food without eating sushi? That's why I've saved the best for last. So James and I are going to an all-vegan Japanese restaurant that's here in San Diego. We have been before a long time ago, kind of like when it first opened. We're going to a different location today. It's called the Yasai, and they do vegan ramen, vegan Japanese appetizers, and vegan sushi rolls. So I'm really excited because obviously I haven't had sushi this whole week, and that's like one of my favorite Japanese foods to have. So that is it for the video. I've had so much fun with this video, trying all the new recipes, learning all the different foods to make. Everything was so good. I was actually blown away, and it wasn't as intimidating as I thought it would be. So I hope that this encourages you to try a new dish, learn about another culture, try a new cuisine you've never tried before. Please let me know if you like this video, and I would love to hear what cuisine or culture you would like to see me eat for a week in the next video. I don't know, I worded that really weird, but I think you understand. You got the gist of what I was trying to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!